Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Here's a headline from you today. XRP reversal could be closer than you think. And I wouldn't be surprised if indeed that is correct. I'm noticing a lot of analysts expecting that this whole market's about to go. And yes, XRP included. As far as XRP, some analysts are expecting that it is going to have its first major move up either this month or next month. And I always get a little nervous when the analysts out there put time parameters on their predictions. But given that we're in a bull market, I mean, if you're going to have a time parameter, at least it's at a moment where it genuinely is true that this thing's going to absolutely take off for the next leg, especially considering that we've been range bound for over 2 months at this point. There can only be so much of that. There are also a couple articles from You Today that I got to nitpick just a little bit on because You Today is sending out what I would say is a false narrative. I just disagree with their opinion having to do with XRP volume. As well as volatility. They're saying, hey, there's a couple metrics here not looking so hot for XRP. I've got proof to the contrary. Also, since we had XRP's 12th birthday yesterday, which I did mention yesterday on the birthday, I thought I'd share with you a little bit of information that I'm sure some of you are aware of, but not everybody. Did you know that XRP was not always called XRP? It actually used to be called XNS. So I thought I'd share with you just for fun since we had the birthday of XRP, 12 years old now. Oh, they grow so fast. Since we had that yesterday, I just thought I'd share some fun little facts, but I'm going to save that towards the later part of the video. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Here's a post from Charting Guy. And he's one of the analysts out there that expects, yes, this market is going to be breaking to the upside sooner than later. And he has predicted that XRP is going to move upward, have its first major move to the upside by the end of July. So we'll find out if he's right or wrong sooner than later. But here's what he had to say. Lots of alts are on the breath of breaking down their downtrend they've had the past few weeks. And then he says total, which is the total cryptocurrency market cap. He says the total cryptocurrency market cap is about to break bull flag. And USDT, which of course is Tether, Tether's dominance is about to break bear flag. Send it. And so he's been really on this message, and there's been all sorts of analysts out there I've been highlighting in recent days in particular. I just noticed a substantial uptick in perspectives from analysts stating, yeah, it looks like this thing really is going to go. So whether that means today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next quarter, hopefully not as far off as next quarter. Well, actually, that's not true. Next month is next quarter, but I was thinking 3 months when I said that. But anyway, setting that aside, even though that wouldn't be the end of the world, I'd kind of be surprised if it took that long because we've already been consolidating in this reaccumulation range for like I said a minute ago, for over 2 months. So I would be surprised if we have to wait in several months for more excitement, although it's technically possible, of course. Here's a post from chart analyst Khalil, and he said, Bitcoin, it's time for round 2. $100,000 is a magnet. And he is one of the analysts that, when sentiment out there was a lot more bearish, he said, no, actually, not only is Bitcoin not going to $12,000, but $30,000 as a magnet. And he was saying this back when it was like 15 grand, and people didn't want to hear it, and they'd yell at him. But he also said 40,000. And he kind of updated that along the way. But the point is that this is not the end. He's saying $100,000 as a magnet. And it's so funny because I remember, and I highlighted on my channel at the time, back when Bitcoin was like $15,000 or $16,000, I was highlighting this guy saying, 30,000 is a magnet, 40,000 is a magnet. People gave him crap, but it did happen. And I will not be surprised if he is indeed correct on this as well. But as far as sentiment, I understand. It's kind of in the gutter. I don't think it's most people, but it's the worst that I've seen it probably ever in the XRP community. But I just want to highlight this article briefly on your screen here because it's true of any community. It's true of any cryptocurrency. Look at this headline from the Daily Hodl. Crypto whales suddenly gobble up $112 million worth of Dogecoin amid bearish Doge sentiment, analyst. And I'll just note before reading part of this article that this, like I just said a second ago, obviously true of the XRP community. I've also shared with you evidence that whales have been purchasing massive quantities of XRP while the sentiment has been in the gutter. This is what we should expect in a bull market, and then when it goes, then everybody just agrees and it's all exciting. But the time to position is before that happens. Anyway, piece reads as follows. A crypto analyst says whales have abruptly accumulated tens of millions of dollars worth of Doge in just a matter of days. Crypto strategist Ali Martinez tells his 63,100 followers on the social media platform X that deep-pocketed investors have snapped up 700 million Doge worth $112 million in just 72 hours. Using data from analytics platform Sentiment, Martinez says that the sudden Doge accumulation of whales comes as sentiment for the leading meme coin has dropped close to 2024 lows. Oh, you don't say. Isn't that funny? It always works like that. And he said, quote, market sentiment for Dogecoin is as bearish as it was in early February, just before Doge skyrocketed by 200%. Now, my friends, it doesn't matter what the coin is. This is what happens. Pick your coin. It's true of every coin. You know, when it looks like it's scary and nothing's happening, or either of those things, and it's like, why would we ever want this coin? That's the typical sentiment out there, right? Well, that's the time where the whales actually do accumulate because they behave different than the typical lemming retail speculators out there. And so it's going to come for XRP as well. But there are two articles I want to highlight. I don't really need to read through much of any of them, but I want to make points on these because You Today, and nothing against You Today, I'm a fan of them, but they had a couple opinions I just respectfully disagree with. And so there was this article titled 1.5 billion XRP in 24 hours. Here's twist ahead. And they go on to note that the volume of XRP went down dramatically, and it's painted as though this is a bad picture, but if you draw upon past experiences, what you see frequently is that before XRP rockets to the upside in terms of price, it's not uncommon, especially in reaccumulation periods like we've seen the last couple months, when things are just consolidating, it's not uncommon to see the volume go down substantially. We've seen this before. In fact, we saw this before most of the excitement of late 2023 and the beginning part of 2024. Before that, we saw the volume of XRP at times kind of close to where it is now, which is about 600 million. Now, that is lower than where it typically is. I mean, it's normal these days to see XRP volume maybe closer to a billion. And so we're, close to 40% lower than that right now. But that in and of itself doesn't mean that there's something fundamentally wrong. And so I wanted to push back against that narrative because it's just not true. We have seen levels like this even recently. So there's that. And then there's the question of volatility. And this one I got to push back even more on. So here is this headline from You Today. XRP reaches lowest level in 2024. Details. Well, they sound scary. XRP has hit a new threshold, but rather a negative one. Unfortunately for us, XRP has hit one of the lowest volatility levels in 2024. The drop is a negative sign for the asset, but at the same time, it creates some possibilities for someone who has not yet gained exposure to the asset. Based on the chart, it appears that XRP has been having difficulty keeping up its upward momentum. Price recently broke below the 50-day, the 100-day, and 200-day moving averages, among other important moving averages. And it's funny because, although that's true, that's fine. They're factually reporting this. This is being painted as some sort of negative, but historically when this happens, it's not been bad. And that's why it's funny because I was talking about this topic in my very last video, and then I came across this article. I'm like, nope, don't buy that narrative. And so check this out. I shared this in my very last video. It's from chart analyst Dark Defender. He said, we know what happens when you stroll under the 100-week moving average. I leave it here for you. Enjoy. And so he highlights this. Look at 2017, below the 100-week moving average. And then, so obviously that happened, and it was the end of the world, right? XRP's a crap coin. Get rid of it, right? Except for then it just rocketed and melted faces. That's exactly what happened in 2017. Look what happened last market cycle. Same thing. I know XRP didn't hit a new all-time high because of the SEC nonsense, but behaviorally it did the same thing. Look at this. Same thing. It's below the 100-week moving average and then just rockets. That's where we're sitting right now. So that's why I had to push back against this narrative. It's just not true. You can look at stuff like this on its face, just like you could look at XRP priced against Bitcoin. You're like, wow, that's the worst it's ever been in history just about. And that's true. But does that really mean that XRP is in a bad position? Well, history says otherwise. History says that when this happens, it happens only in those moments right before XRP shocks the world and rockets to the upside. That's the point. And in fact, there's this. So Remember headlines like this from like a month and a half ago? I covered this at the time. XRP could soar 712% to $4 amid historic tight Bollinger Bands. And so there was this post from the time, what's the date? April 16th, 2024. This is from Charting Guy, and he said, XRP monthly Bollinger Bands are now the tightest they've ever been in history, 0.7 for the width. And I'll pause to note it actually got even tighter than that. The tightest I saw at was 0.67 if memory serves. And then he says the tightest it got before this was 0.73 in 2017, 1 month before, and then he used a little rocket emoji. So tightest in history. So this is indicating a narrow range of volatility. Is that really bad? Well, no. So you can see in 2017 that was then the tightest it had ever been, and then it rocketed in price. And then it got not quite as tight in 2020, but when it got that tight where I'm circling, you can see rocketed to the upside. What do you think is going to happen this time? This time is not different than other times. Outside of a black swan event, XRP is going to rip to the upside, hit a new all-time high in enterprise discovery. That's my bet. Now, of course, nobody can know for sure. I don't know for sure if that's what's going to happen. That is my conviction, based on historic precedent and the fact that we're in a mega bull market. We are. I know we've been ranging, and so it gets a little bit more boring when the price action is sideways for a lot. But this is a fantastic position to be in. All right, now let's talk a little bit about XRP's birthday. Oh, like I said, they grow up so fast. So on December 12th, 2019, David Schwartz decided to drop some knowledge on us because it really wasn't clear at that point when XRP was actually created. Now, they started working on the ledger in 2011, but what's the actual birthday of XRP? And given that we had the birthday just yesterday, I thought I'd share this information with you, as well as why XRP was renamed from XNS to XRP. So anyway, from David Schwartz, he says, there have been some questions floating around about the origins of the XRP ledger and when XRP was created. Let me help clear those up. I worked with Arthur Brito and Jed McCaleb starting in late 2011. We co-created the XRP ledger. Here is my first code commit from November 2011. And then he shared a link. I'm not pulling it up for the purposes of this video. But even then, they were actually coding this thing. But just because they started coding the XRP ledger in 2011, that doesn't mean that's when XRP was created. Anyway, Schwartz continues. Here's Arthur's code that created the 100 billion XRP, then called XNS, on June 2nd, 2012, the birth date of XRP. And I'll pause to note, I will come back around to explain what XNS means, but let's go through his thread first. It says, yes, this shows a code push, but was obviously used. GitHub history that shows how many times we contributed and executed every day. By June 2012, the XRP ledger, was live and transacting. We were still madly squashing bugs as these were early days. We reset the ledger sequence multiple times for binary format changes, and transaction history was erased. This does not mean the 100 billion XRP was recreated each time. Huzzah! The XRP ledger version that we know and love today began in December 2012. Unfortunately, the first week's worth of data, should be ledgers 1 through 32,570, is lost. And so some people, it's just the XRP haters out there and the toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls. They act like XRP is some sort of fake blockchain just because unfortunately, this mishap, this technological mishap. But mind you, this was before the XRP ledger was launched. So a bug was found, the bug was fixed, and then it was launched. Now, in hindsight, it would have been better, just so we could avoid these stupid-ass discussions, it would have been better to just reset the count, which had been done multiple times. But whether we consider 32,571 as the Genesis block, or we consider 0 as the Genesis block, it's literally the same point with the same transactions. So even if they had reset it, it would functionally be the same. The numbers previous to that just wouldn't exist. And then the benefit would only be you wouldn't have the toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls and XRP haters giving us crap. But it makes no material difference whatsoever. Because again, that mishap happened not when XRP was live and public. It happened when it was being beta tested. That was it. So it was never some sort of big deal here. So what does XNS mean? Well, June of last year, a couple days after the 11th birthday, I was curious enough that I actually just asked. I hadn't seen anybody ever ask David Schwartz why XRP was XNS, and then What did it even stand for? And so finally I got curious enough that I just decided to ask him, and he was kind enough to answer. So on June 4th of last year, I wrote the following. I have a question that I know David Schwartz can answer. XRP was originally XNS when brought into existence on June 2nd, 2012. My question is, what does XNS stand for? I've been wondering for years and never seen an explanation anywhere. I should have been asking sooner. And so, again, David Schwartz was kind enough to respond to me. And he wrote, X is the standard first character when a currency isn't issued by any country, since no country code starts with X. NS stands for new coins. Okay, so as far as the X, I actually did know that part. It's the same for XRP. That's the reason that it starts with X. But as far as the NS, I was just kind of wondering, what's that stand for? And so for those of you on the screen, you can see why it stands for new coins. It's so the N stands for new, and then for coins, the S comes at the end. So I don't know why it wasn't X and C. Maybe that was taken, but that would have made more sense, I would have thought. But anyway, they went with X and S, and that's what it stands for. Now, that's interesting to me because, well, you can see in my response, it kind of explains why. I wrote, thank you, David, much appreciated. Similar to Ripple's original name, Newcoin. So XRP was originally called Newcoins, and Ripple's original name was Newcoin. Ripple was named Newcoin, and then they were quickly renamed to OpenCoin and ultimately renamed to Ripple. And so that's where we're at today. But it's kind of interesting. So they changed it from XNS to XRP so that way the cryptocurrency would have a different name than the company, right? Smart, makes sense, differentiate between the two. But then the RP standing for Ripple, and this is at a time when Newcoin existed, that they didn't know they were going to change the company name to Ripple. So we had XRP, and RP at the time did stand for Ripple. And then Ripple decided, and I think this is a mistake, they should have just kept it as XNS, perhaps, I don't know. But then Ripple kind of hijacked the name of the cryptocurrency XRP, and because the RP standing for Ripple, of course, and then they renamed the company Ripple ultimately, adding lots of confusion, which we're still dealing with today. Although most of it, I will say, at this point, it's just from people who are trying to cause trouble. The vast majority of humans on the planet, they've accepted the rebranding. Rebrandings happen all the time, including in crypto. There are just some little punk-ass bitches out there who do want to still cause trouble, and they just won't accept it. It's like Ripple. They just conflate Ripple and XRP as if they're the same thing. They're obviously not. But I found it interesting nonetheless. And so there you go. That's the story. XNS stood for new coins, became XRP. Ripple then hijacked XRP for their company name, and here we are. And now XRP, it just is XRP and doesn't mean anything else. So there we are. Happy birthday, XRP. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.